Westminster Magistrates Court held day one of the Met Police versus the Sarah Everard Vigil attendees in the Met's attempts to try and force some respect from the people by making out that even after the High Court and Court of Appeal refused their argument, that they were not wrong to prevent the event from going ahead. So much for trusting the judicial system when the police themselves aren't trusting and accepting the court's judgment. After the ruling by the Court of Appeal on June the 2nd, the police said that they would consider the decision before news that the Met will then be prosecuting 6 of the attendees for their participation in the vigil. Talk about butthurt. Well, today at Westminster Magistrates Court, the first accounts of that night were heard from police for the first time. I'm sure you won't be shocked by any of the bullcrap the Met spout here, by the way. Westminster Magistrates Court heard how police faced stubborn resistance when trying to break up the gathering using COVID laws. They had feared being attacked and were branded murderers by some of the crowd. Called some names? Poor babies. Come here. Come here. Come on for a little cuddle, you pathetic little creatures. The whole vigil came about because of the police's lack of action against someone routinely called and known as the rapist, Couzens. PC Alexander Davies, one of those policing the vigil, said in his witness statement, the mood of the crowd had also shifted from showing respect to Sarah Everard to anti-police protest. Over the course of the early evening, the crowd size of the vigil increased to the 1,000 strong members, and it quickly became an anti-police demonstration. And what? Would we blame them for that? Come on. PC Davies said that Deputy Assistant Commissioner Matt Twist gave the instruction at around 7 p.m. for COVID enforcement to begin, including arrests of women who were stood by the bandstand. Ich habe nur Befehle befolgt. I was just following orders. Where have we heard that before? And I'm sorry to any Germans watching for my destroying of your language. Another PC Daryl Main, said swelling numbers of people at the vigil ignored social distancing guidance, prompting the police to act. Oh no! And look how it affected the country. In fact, I don't recall a surge in COVID deaths after the vigil, so really, it's pretty much a non-starter for an argument, isn't it? He added there was clear breach of coronavirus regulations taking place. I would describe the hostility as aggressive, loud chants that I believe to be aimed at police officers. From my own recollection, I recall the crowd screaming what I believe to be, "Go away, murderers, arrest your own." Perfectly reasonable, I'd say, considering the circumstances. He said, something that also stood out to me, why present at the location, was the COVID shout, "It should be you," to officers, which caused me to feel distress upon hearing this. Fuck off. Who's scared of an Yvonne Fair song? Oh no. It should have been you, not me. Silly me. Still, for those who protected Couzens, I don't disagree, because clearly somebody did protect him. Now, what gets me is that the High Court ruled that the Met Police acted unlawfully in preventing Reclaim the Streets from holding the vigil, an act that saw the Met issue £10,000 penalty notices for as the Met failed to consider the rights to freedom of speech and assembly. But clearly that's just not good enough for the Metropolitan Gestapo, and they decided to take action against some of the attendees as they couldn't get the ones that were organising it. Shallow move, Metropolitan Police. Very shallow move. PC Davies tried to justify his arrest of one of the accused by saying, "She did not look at me or speak to me." Oh no. As I spoke to her, a cardboard placard with anti-police messages was thrusted into my face. The placard was placed between myself and her, and I believe this was done in order to create a barrier between her and I. PC Davies said that the woman refused to give out her name and address when she was initially arrested and put up instant resistance as she was being detained. A large crowd gathered around myself and PC Chamberlain and began to grab hold of her to pull her away from me. Other police officers then got involved and began to move the crowd away from PC Chamberlain and myself. The woman was putting up active resistance and I could feel her trying to retract her arm away from me. I maintained a grip of her forearm and wrist and placed her into an ordinary police hold as I had been taught in my officer safety training. Is it just me, or does this sound like someone who's about to burst out in tears at any moment? What a fucking wet wipe. Basically, he has said in his statement that had it not been for Deputy Assistant Commissioner Matt Twist, who probably wasn't even there, giving the order to disband the Vigil, then this would likely not have happened. So it's Matt Twist's fault. Go figure. The woman arrested, 20-year-old Vivian Homan, or Hobman. Oh look, she's an Extinction Rebellion nut. But I only found that out during editing. Eventually gave her details and was de-arrested. She has pleaded not guilty to the charges, which echo the High Court ruling that the Metropolitan Police breached rights of Vigil organisers, attendees, and was unlawful, and she added that it was not in the interest of the public. Dania Al-Obied, I think, another attendee who's being prosecuted by the Met, is said to have been part of a group of 4 women interlinking arms in front of the bandstand in Clapham Common, and is said to have also refused to leave when asked. PC Daryl Main said that she continued chanting towards the crowd, words to the effect of, "Who do you protect?" To me, this became clear that Al-Obied was not trying to engage with officers who were speaking to her. And your point is, when will you get it through your pig heads that if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, which they are perfectly entitled not to do, by the way, you can't use force to make them? I have then taken hold of Miss Al-Obied's left forearm with both of my hands to try and take control of the situation to allow me to place her in an ordinary police hold, which is an approved police tactic we are taught as part of our officer safety training. Who the fuck says that? Who the fuck says that? Allow me to place them in an ordinary hold, which is an approved police tactic we are taught as part of our officer safety training. Now, nobody says that unless they've been coached. I don't care if the police, if they're the police or not. But isn't it funny how they can remember what to say in court, but they can't remember the laws they're supposed to enforce? What a joke. Ms. Al-Obied, a marketing manager, said last week she was unaware of the prosecution until being contacted by the media and is considering fighting the charge. She said, "This isn't about the £200. I've had people come forward and offer to pay this. It's about what this fine represents. I've requested any updates regarding the fine to be made via email, as I'm not in the country. However, the first I hear of this charge is via the media. I've been dealt with so poorly from start to finish, and I'm just expected to roll over and accept this treatment. I'm considering fighting this, as it's simply not fair." Inspector Dave Lorry, giving his word salad to the court, said that police attended the bandstand because they recognised feelings and sentiment were strong about Ms Everard's murder, and although the planned Reclaim the Streets event had been cancelled, they knew a gathering would still take place. I'll fucking cancel it then. Police logic. He and a sergeant received advance warning that the Duchess of Cambridge planned to attend the vigil in the afternoon and noted a sombre mood around the bandstand. Several people were clearly coming to the bandstand, paying their respects, then leaving, he said. Most, if not all, were wearing face coverings and keeping social distancing. Oh yes, face nappies. Must wear your face nappy. The police simply don't understand that if they don't get involved, then it's more than likely going to go without a hitch. There was no mention of issues before police arrived and before they tried to get it shut down. Had they simply attended when the Duchess of Cambridge was there and then moved away, even if they sat in their vehicles some distance away, the chances of anything getting out of hand would have been slim. But no, of course the police have to get involved because they feel superior and tough when grabbing hold of people for no fucking reason. There will be more to come here, but I can't see how the court can rule in favour of the Metropolitan Police here either. You know, the issues arose after they tried to enforce unlawful regulations on people and now try to justify their actions with statements such as, "Well, she just wouldn't listen to me, so I didn't have any choice. I had to throw my dummy out of the pram and show her just who's fucking boss. Nobody disrespects the Met." The remainder of the defendants will be dealt with on June the 15th.